DBS community, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super deck profile video. Today I'm going to be going over a variation of Hatchhyack that I think you guys would enjoy for set 12 and hopefully beyond. Hopefully this type of Hatchhyack deck can find success in the future, depending on who's piloting. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the deck list down below. So Hatchhyack is a set 8 leader. He came out. He was one of the more powerful control leaders that you can play in the game because your opponent can only attack with one battle card per turn, depending on the archetype. The auto on this card says, actually the permanent says you can only play black battle cards. So there's no multicolor, there's no other stuff. You can't play dark Broly stuff or whatever, like the red dark Broly stuff. Auto, when a battle card attacks, this auto triggers, and the turn player cannot attack with battle cards other than the card that they attacked with, if they are an energy cost of 7 or less. So 1 through 7, they can only attack once unless they have dual attack or a way to restand. If they don't, you can only attack with those. Now, if you attack with a card higher than this energy cost, the effect still kicks in. So if you are playing against this deck, or if you are playing this deck, you want to swing with small battle cards first, and then swing with your high battle cards. So then you can still get over the that 7 or less, basically that every turn Nimbus that he has. He has an activate main. One, you get to, once per turn, you get to choose the top card of your deck, put it underneath your leader, face down. So the card does not come in face up, so it comes in like this, underneath your leader. Next card, you get bursted to the drop area. Third card, you get the draw. And then you cannot attack on this side. Once you get 3 cards underneath your leader, you can then place all 3 of those cards in the drop area and draw a card, and then you can awaken. On this side, now you can start attacking, and this is where all the fun begins here. So on this side, when this card swings, you get to draw a card, and then he gains plus 5k for the turn, so he becomes a 20k swing, which is very good. You can swing into a lot of those pesky 20k cards that instead of you having to combo a card out, you can just combo one, or just swing once, and then just swing it at it for 20, make your opponent, discard a card. Has the same autos as before. Now on this side, the Awaken says if all of your energy is black. So there's a lot of people who I've been seeing, they're playing like these rainbow color decks with all the different type of Dragon Balls, so they can play out the Strength of Legends, Vegeta and Goku, and you can't do that. You cannot have multicolor, you cannot have random color cards in your energy to awaken. Now, after that, you can definitely put them in there, but you can't do that beforehand, so just keep that in mind. So that's the leader, and we'll kind of go over what we have here for the beginning. So we have the 1-drops. So we have 2 of the blocker Supreme Kai. Comes in for 1 energy, draws you a card, and then you have a blocker. You have the Son Goku. It's also a 1-drop. This is a negate. So we only run 4 total of these cards because these are also 0 combo cost. And before, back when Unisons weren't a thing, this was fine. You can run 4 of each of these, or 3 and 4, and it was fine. But now, with how the game is with counterplays and there's Unisons, and just it's not as free flowing for Hatchhyack as it used to be. So we don't want a lot of 0k combo cards in the deck. We are not Dark Broly. We can't combo with 0 cards and give him plus 5k. So these 4 cards are technically dead for combo pieces. So instead, we run the Irie Intellectual Supremacy. This is a 1-drop draw a card that's also the 5k. This came out of Draft Box 5. This is the Universe 3. I think it's Universe 3. Yeah, this is the Universe 3 Angel. So you play this card, draw a card, and then your opponent swings. And then you can combo this card off and use it later on. Also very good to get back with Power Burst later on in the game. Just because early you want to see this card, play it out, block a few attacks, hold on to these for your negates, and then play this guy out later in the game as well, just to be able to play out and draw you a card. So that's all we run there for 1-drops. Next is going to be the Ghost Warrior package. So we run 3 of the Slug, 1 Turles, and 1 Hatchhyack. So these are Ghost Warriors, even though he doesn't have the tag Ghost Warriors. But these all have the same sort of effect. It's something that I've called Tribute. There's no actual term or keyword skill for this effect, but I just call it Tribute just because it makes more sense when you call it that. So Tribute is an effect where you get to play this card out, any of these cards, and then you choose 3 battle cards, 3 black battle cards between an energy cost of 3 and 7, original energy cost, and you put them in the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you can play these cards out. These 2 cards come out for free, and Hatchhyack comes out for 3 energy, but also from the drop area. So he's a little bit different. That's why he's not considered a full Ghost Warrior. So these here, you can play them out for free from your hand by putting 3 battle cards between 3 and 7 from your drop area to the bottom of your deck. Lord Slug has an ability where you can send him to the drop area and warp a card on your opponent's side of the board with a higher energy cost or equal to their current energy. So secret rares, arrival pieces of X evolved targets, anything that their opponent has that does not have barrier, you want to get rid of. You play this guy, swing once, and then pop it, and then you can warp that card. And this card can be cycled back into your deck. We only run one Turles. Turles can affect the drop area, so he does the same idea, but he can only warp battle cards from the drop area. So you play him, swing, pitch him to the drop area, and then warp a card from your opponent's battle area. It has to be a battle card. So if you're playing against a deck, an opponent that has a lot of drop area effects, whether it's sparking effects or overwhelm effects or drop area cards that draw them cards like the Ape or Rebrand or something, you want to warp those away, you use this guy here. This Hatchhyack here, you can pitch this card from your hand by activating main to burst 2 cards, so it's basically a burst 3. You can do that if you want, but the activate main for 3, you play this card out from your drop area, activate the tribute effect, and now you have a 25k body. When you swing out a battle card, this card gets to restand. So this card does get past your leader auto effect, so you can swing this card at a battle card once, they'll do whatever, you can restand, and then swing again. Very good for clearing off boards, especially early in the game. Really sticky cards like Lord Slug, the yellow Lord Slug, or just some really annoying arrival cards. You just want to pop those cards early, you can just play this for 3 and start doing that. The last Ghost Warrior is going to be the Dr. Lychee, the Departed Spirit. This is an amazing card. So it's a 3-drop blocker, but we never play it out for 3. We play this card out from the drop area. You have an active main for 2. Put this card into play from the drop area and then burst the top 2 cards of your deck. This is very good. This allows you to set up your drop area for a lot of Ghost Warrior plays, but also this is a reoccurring defensive step. So you can just, a lot of times in turn 4, I'll swing. I don't have anything to play, so I'll just, if I have 2 of these in the drop area, I'll just activate main twice, play out 2 of these, burst 4, and then I just pass turn. And you generally have a good defensive way of stopping people. As long as they don't warp these, you're good. So now we go into the Unison section. So I run 4 Piccolo, Savior from the Beyond. This is a very good Unison for this deck. So it has 3 different effects, technically 4. The permanent is for every 2 markers on your turn, for every 2 markers this card has, it gains 5k power. And it has 3 different active effects. So you have a +2, a +1, and a -3. The +2, you get to pitch a card from your hand. And then he gains, basically it's like you pitch 1 card and he gains 5k. That's kind of the idea of it. The activate main for 1, you get to pitch a card, and if you do, you get to draw a card. That's a 1. And the -3 is you get to choose 2 battle cards from your opponent's drop area and warp them. It's not super effective. And depending on how you play this guy, you have a certain condition when you play him on evens and a certain condition when you play him on odds. So if you play him on evens, so if you play him for 2, there's no point in plussing 1. Because if he goes up to 3, he's not going to be gaining any extra power. So you want to make sure you're plussing 2 there. So if you play him out for 2, he becomes a 15k body. If you plus 1, and you pitch a card and draw a card, he's still going to be 15. But if you plus 2 and pitch a card, then he becomes a 20k. So then he becomes a little more effective on that turn. If you play him out for evens, you want to -1. You want to do the +1 instead of the +2. Because if you're at 1, he's still a 10k. If you plus 2, he's at 15, but then you pitched a card for no reason. If you plus 1, you get to draw a card, cycle through, and then he becomes a 15. Does it make sense? Sure it does. So basically, just remember, if you play him on evens, first thing you want to do is +2. If you play him on odds, you want to +1. That's the easiest way of remembering it. Just in my book. Now, obviously, you don't keep that power on your opponent's turn. It's mainly just on your turn. But he becomes a good pressure piece for that. And then we run 2 of the Toa draft box 6 Unisons. It's a 20k, no specific cost. You can play this out for 1. +0, you get to pitch a card and warp 1 of your opponent's battle cards 3 or less. And whenever one of your opponent's battle cards is removed, when one of your opponent's battle cards is removed from the battle area by a skill or a KO, this adds a marker. That's once per turn. So that's really powerful. You can, if your leader swings at a battle card and removes it, this gets a +1. If you activate this warping ability, you gain +1. If you activate your Lord Slug ability, it gains a +1. So that's pretty good. If you just swing at battle cards and remove them, it gains a +1. This card cannot attack if it has 2 or fewer markers, so this can only attack once it hits 3 markers. But you're really using it just to pitch the cards that you need in the drop area to the drop, and then warping cards. The -4, you can take control over an opponent's battle card. It does not say switch it to active mode, so if once it lands on your side of the field, it's going to stay in rest mode or active mode depending on how you took the card. So just keep that in mind. If you can't take a card that they already swung with and then restand it, because it doesn't say here. It's the Maki Cabra, the yellow Unison, that says that. It says take control of the card and then switch it to active mode. A little bit different. So we run 6 total Unisons just because our leader bursts a total of 6 cards within 3 turns. So there's a good chance you're going to hit one of these. And if you run 4 Unisons, now you're down to 3, and you definitely need to have a Unison in play for this deck to be successful. So now we go into the bread and butter of the deck, which is going to be the Hatchhyack Engine. So this is the Hatchhyack Engine here. So we run a 3, 3, and 4 split as you go up the line. The 3-drop is a Ghost Warrior, has the tribute effect, so nothing really to go over there. He also has he has an active main for 4 energy, where you get to choose a Fueled by Hatred in your drop area and play it on top of him. This is our #1 card that we want to pitch off of our Unison skills. So these 2 skills here, because he has a 10k in our hand and he's kind of dead, we don't really want to do that. So we'll pitch him, draw cards, or pitch him and just get effects off like the Toa. And then we play this guy on top of the Hatchhyack here. Now when he comes into play, he says 5 cost here, but his permanent says increases cost by 3, so he becomes an 8 cost. So now he is able to get over your leader effect, so you can swing with something else, evolve on top of this. So now he comes in. He does not come in and switch to active mode, he just comes in on top of this card. So you want to make sure this card's not tapped already. Then you get to swing twice with this card. He has dual attack, 25k. He also has a tribute effect where you can do the tribute, and then you can also, this card doesn't go anywhere, but you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and warp it, which will trigger your Toa as well, which is very, very powerful. You want to get rid of a pesky card they have on board. Just makes it a little bit easier to do that. And then you go in from this card, you go into the Mad with Hate from the expansion pack. This card is an X Evolve on top of a 8 cost for free, so it does not cost anything. And then it gets switched to active mode. So once you swing into the guy twice, then you get to evolve on top of this guy, restand him. And now you have a 30k triple attack battle card, which is very powerful. The auto on this card says whenever your opponent activates a counter skill, they warp a card from their hand, so it has the Food the Dark Banisher effect, which is really, really good. So then you get 3 attacks with this guy. Now, this seems really good here, but there's one card that this whole engine is missing to really, really put some pressure on your opponent, and it is going to be Shinran the Wish Granter. This card makes this archetype extremely powerful. So it is a 5-drop. It has a Sparking 7 cost. Once it hits the field, if you fulfill the Sparking 7 requirement, which you should, you draw 2 cards and you get to choose one of the 3 following skills. So you get to either restand 2 energy, which is okay. So basically makes this card. You get to restand 4 energy, basically making this card a 1 cost. 1 cost, draw 2. That's okay, but that's not the main one we want to do. Second one, you get to choose a battle card 3 or less from your drop area and play it. That's okay. It's a 3 or less or 4 or less. It's 3 or less. Nothing really that we want to play out for 3 or less, but it's the last ability that we love. So the last one says you get to choose one of your battle cards or leader cards. It gets 15k triple strike for the turn. That is very, very good. So you can make your leader a base 35k triple strike because you gain 5k when you attack. So he has a base 35k triple strike, or you give this guy that ability. So then he becomes a 45k triple attack, triple strike for the turn. That's insane. That there's a lot of decks that really can't deal with that type of thing. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure on somebody. And most people can't deal with that, especially depending on how far they are in the game, because you can get this out as early as turn 4. Obviously, you can't get this guy out till turn 5, but it just is a very, very powerful archetype. Also, you can do this with this, so you can make it a 40k triple strike dual attack for basically 6 damage, while this is doing a total of 9 damage. So it's just a very good way of being able to win. You also can recycle this, so if this card dies, you can use the tribute effect, put it back in your deck, and then you'll eventually draw it again. So this is our main way of winning games, is going into the Hatchhyack archetype here. Next, we're going to get into the support and utility for the deck. You have 4 power burst, as any black deck should run. You're able to get your 1-drops back from the drop or the warp, which we have we have a blocker that draws us a card. We have a negate. Then we have a 1-drop 5k combo that draws us a card as well, so we can pull any of those back. Also, sparking is generally live in this deck for most of the game, so we're going to be able to play the card out for free if we would like. For Deborah, the main reason is that this card is considered a 2-drop once it hits the drop area, so we cannot tribute this back into our deck even though it says a 3 cost, because the cost is reduced by 1. So this is your main defensive piece. I will keep 2 energy up against most decks because of this auto effect. So the counterplay says play this card, and the auto says choose one of your opponent's battle cards, negate its skills, it can't attack, and it can't be comboed until the start of their next turn. So back in the day, when Piccolo Surge was a thing, people would play Piccolo Surge. They'd play Xenocell and Piccolo Surge. You could play this card, and sure, they can rip 3 cards from your hand, but then you just negated its skills. Can't attack, can't do anything, and then you can end up playing something like a Lord Slug and then just warping it. So it still works now because it's coming out it does come out in the first counter window, but it just doesn't hit the card before it comes into play. So whatever autos they have on the card still come into play. But other than that, you can just blank a card and can't even attack, which is a really powerful thing. So a lot of people who are playing Supreme Kai time now, this card's nuts against Supreme Kai. So you play this, they play it out for 1, then you choose it, they can't activate their warping ability, and they can't attack, so they just wasted an energy for no reason. So very, very powerful card. 1 Demonic Absorption. Depending on what you're playing, you're gonna want to run more of this card. It is a activate battle for free. It becomes a 5k combo power, so this card's never dead. Or it's for 3 energy, you choose a battle card, ignoring barrier, and warp it. So any battle card on the board, as long as it doesn't have indestructible, you can remove it. Or a skill that says it can't be removed from battle, of course. 2 Tag Team Gohans, since we have the tribute effects. Also, people just removing the battle cards we have on the board, we can play this out. It gives us extra defensive steps. 4 Sparking Negates. Sorry, 4 Sparking. We do run 4 Sparking Negates, but these are 4 Sparking Super Combos. Draw a card once you have more than 5 cards in your drop area, which will be live generally by turn 2, if not turn 3. 1 Trunks Power Overwhelming. This is the OG Overwhelm card you would run in this deck. Because you do burst, you do have the ability to burst your secret rare and your game winners, so you want to be able to pull those cards back, especially because they can't be tributed from your other effects. So that is the biggest problem, that we cannot tribute them back, so we need to be able to grab them from the drop area. So you can swing at this guy for 20k double strike, and then you can play out your boss monsters. So the boss monsters that we have in the deck outside of the Hatchhyack is going to be the Dark Black Mask King. Comes out for 4 if your opponent has 3 more battle cards or 3 more cards in the warp, which we could possibly get to, especially if they're if they like to overwhelm. This is a 25k triple strike deflect. Comes down, swings, warps 2 cards from your opponent's drop area. If they have more than 10 cards in the warp, restands. Activate a counter during this card's attack. They have to warp a life. So pretty powerful card there. Fu, Shrouded in Mystery, the OG secret rare for black and for Hatchhyack, being able to just negate everything on the board. And then 1 Supreme Kai, very good for defensive steps, especially if your opponent swings with the battle card first. You can play this, and then your opponent's leader and Unison can't attack, so then you just basically negated 3 attacks, or 2 attacks. But this is a very, very good card here. And then also you can activate main for 1 on your turn to warp their entire board, including their Unison. So very, very powerful. So that's what we got for Hatchhyack. This is a deck that I feel could have some potential. I think the issue with it is still the Unison idea. I think there needs to be a Unison that has blocker, and this deck would become much better. But I think this is a very good rendition of Hatchhyack. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.